line of the military CEO, retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, licensed financial advisor, real estate investor, and author. So right now, the first thing is really what I've been up to. We haven't done these in a while. I think the last interview was about 3 weeks ago. I had my brother Ray on here, Ray, and shout out to him. He talked about his fund and just the due diligence process for accredited investors. So go back and check that last live that we shared with him with that video. But at the end of the day, life has been full. It has definitely been a blessing. I'm loving every minute of it. On the personal side, I'm out on the soccer field coaching youth soccer with Lounge Soccer with my youngest, with the first graders out there. Melissa and I have been hitting the gym together 3 or 4 times a week, getting a little yoga in. HIIT class is one of our favorites with the high intensity interval training. We got the spin bike. I got her going on the spin bike, so that's good. And then a little bit of Pilates. I almost walked out of one of the Pilates classes. I'll tell you the instructor, she's a little bit too zesty for me, like the body rolls and all that. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to get the workout in, get a little flexibility and all that. But I love Crush Fitness. It's been great, being able to connect with us, getting out in the daytime, getting our workouts in, and staying faithful to that process. But we stay sharp physically because one of the things that you have to do, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And we know health is wealth. As you see more and more individuals getting older, we're going out to a family member's 70th birthday party, which is the baby of my dad's side of the family, of his siblings. The youngest, she's turning 70 now. And just, for me, it's been a opportunity to reflect and just think back on life. Because I can remember when my dad was 44, way back when, and now to see him up in age, hit 77 back in October of last year, and just it helps you count your blessings. Professionally, February was a great, I would say January kicked off with the Mid-Atlantic CCIM, talking with a lot of commercial brokers here in the local area. That was phenomenal. It was hosted at Belmont Country Club right across the street, per se, across Highway 7, out here in Ashburn in that area. That was a phenomenal meeting. With that, February was just as impactful with the annual commercial real estate conference down in Birmingham that the University of Alabama Roll Tide puts on every year. And it was a really, really good conference being down there. I love going down to the conference, spend a day there, connecting, networking, meeting great professionals, then taking the next day, hitting down to Montgomery, walking the portfolio down there, meeting with the property manager, checking up on units that are finishing up on renovations on that side, and really good conversations. And, even had the opportunity to walk a couple off-market multifamily in that market while I was boots on the ground. So always making those trips fulfilling and value add is always critical, when it comes to real estate and continuing to grow the relationships and everything that's going on there. And, and the big thing for me also just wrapped up studying for my last financial securities exam with the 65, getting that out the way, getting that done. So now having that full stack when it comes to the advising side. And, it's been a great process to go through and journey with me just being, I won't say addicted to learning, but really being a student of the game and that hunger and yearning to more information. So it's been really good with honing in and diving in onto that. Last month, I was out in Dallas, out at the IVMF Veteran Edge event. Shout out to Syracuse University and IVMF. Phenomenal 3-day event for veteran entrepreneurs. Incredible room of veteran business leaders. And it's always energizing to be in those rooms, the conversations, the connections I walked out of there with, the conversations we're still having, opportunities to collaborate and really give back and impact the veteran community that I've been to a lot of veterans events, and it's bar none. It's right there with it. I'm really excited, looking forward to going out to Dallas next month. Well, actually, shoot, that's next week. What I'm talking about next month. Next week out to the Military Creators Conference in Dallas, Texas, and really breaking down how veterans and active duty military can build wealth, leveraging the VA loan and the TSP, and some things on how you can blend those together, a framework to, being able to leverage the resources you have today in order to build wealth and position your portfolio long term. So I'm really excited about that going down in Dallas here next weekend as well too. But I will tell you, over the last 2-3 months, the one thing that I would say two things that we're one faith related and the other one business related. But my new book, that if you don't know, that I wrote my first book, and I made a post about that the other day about IVMF when I was out there at Veterans Edge, that they had a display for all the authors right there. So it was really humbling to kind of see my book, my body of work right there on the shelf with all these other veterans that grace the stage for the top 100 veteran entrepreneur companies out there. But really, my first book, if you hadn't checked that out, Millionaire Real Estate Success Strategies, What They Forgot to Teach in School, definitely pick that up on Amazon. But my new book, The Financial Security Blueprint, it's a faith-based guide that is really focused on income for life, protecting wealth, and leaving a legacy. So my gift to you guys on LinkedIn, check me out on LinkedIn. If you're not on there, go to LinkedIn. But on my feature profile, you can go right there and you can see the Financial Security Blueprint. And you click that, download it. No email address or anything right there. Just go straight to the book. And when you go to the link there, it'll bring up the Financial Security Blueprint. And when you go to it, you kind of can go through and see the book. It's only like 55 pages, I think, but it's really impactful. When you look at the table of contents, we're talking about the power of financial planning, having a plan, having a roadmap, understanding where you're going, and how does wisdom and counsel play into that. We're going to talk about the parable of the talent, stewardship and multiplication, building income for life, faith-based scaling, and multifamily wealth. The 4F framework, building wealth with faith, focus, follow through. Legacy and generational wealth, building beyond yourself. Chapter 6 is all on alternative investments, diversifying beyond Wall Street. That's very important in today. We're going to talk about some of the things happening in the economy and why that's important. The faith framework for financial security, and then the financial security blueprint in action from vision to victory, going through some key case studies and things that you can use in your journey. And really excited about this. It definitely came from the heart, and everything that I've been building over the last couple of years and now, and how I'm serving families and being able to impact them, that it has really hit home. And so that was definitely number one. And just the things that I'm using my own family and building wealth, and every client that I work with, that focus on faith, income, protection, and legacy, and how that rolls up to building wealth. Number two, Melissa and I just wrapped up 5-week My God, My Money series at our church, Community Church in Ashburn. Phenomenal series. We're really having real conversations about money and faith and financial stewardship. I know for us, one of the things when it comes to a lot of it was the heavy lifting was all on me, and it wasn't a lot of conversations like, hey, you got it, you know what you're doing, make it happen. But that was one of the things that, going through that class and side by side with others, and really hearing the perspective of other people when it comes to money, investing, or not even thinking about investing, that those conversations go a long way to how I show up with my clients, and having those conversations in my household. It's like you can always learn, and some things that we made and improved on how we communicate, because God forbid if something happened to me, it's like, yeah, there's a lot that she would have to step into and run and execute and make happen. And so, that thought process definitely drove some changes in how we do business and how we make decisions as a family. And for me, really, with making sure I'm passing that down to the next generation, having those conversations with the kids where they understand, they know a lot about the investing. We're talking about deals. I give them scenarios. They invest alongside of me and things like that. So they understand the concepts. But a lot of it now is like, okay, making sure that, hey, don't take that for granted, that you kind of have those explicit conversations. And I think every single week, I'm blessed to be able to sit across from families, whether it's veteran, federal professionals, defense contractors, business owners, and having real conversations about income, retirement accounts, insurance, real estate, trust, asset protection. That's the mission. That's why I do this, now serving in another capacity now that I'm out of the military. And it has been phenomenal and extremely, I would say, extremely fulfilling, having those conversations and being able to have a large impact in the lives of others that you wouldn't necessarily come across or have that opportunity to plant that seed and go from there. And so I think that's one of the big things that has really changed everything in my approach on how I serve in that capacity, in investing, and really taking it to a whole nother level. Because you guys know REI Genius, we've been serving veterans and business owners and professionals that are looking to diversify into real estate for some years. And now it's just going to a whole nother level. The aperture is completely open now that I'm out of the service, the securities license, and it's really a blessing with being able to impact the lives of others. So that's what I've been up to.